What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Kelvin Soa and I'm on a mission to helping new developers understand how to build cross-platform mobile applications with React Native. In today's episode, we are diving into something that every app needs, which is the navigation. And we will be doing this the modern way with expo-router. Expo-router is a powerful file-based routing system built on top of React navigation. It makes setting up navigation in your React Native app feel almost as effortless as building a Next.js project. No more manually configuring stacks, tabs, or drawer navigators. With expo-router, you simply create folders and files, then boom, your routes are live. In this video, I'll show you how to set up expo-router in a new or existing project, create stacks and tab navigations with zero boilerplates, pass dynamic routes, and handle parameters. Use layout and shared components across screens. Now, if this sounds exciting, do well to leave a thumbs up on this video and share this video as well, and hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Now let's jump right into it. Okay, so we are back in our workspace here. So first of all, let's make sure that we are on the main branch like this, and make sure that we've updated or reloaded what we have from the remote repository and what we have here locally. Make sure they are the same. Once you're done, we can just restart the app to make sure that everything is working. And then at this point, we can go ahead and then create a new branch for today's lesson. So I'm just going to say git checkout -b, say lesson 8, like so. Good. So now we're on the lesson 8. Okay, so before we begin, let's talk about how we can set up or make sure that we have expo-router installed in our React Native app, Expo app. So I'm here on the Expo documentation, official documentation for the router installation. I'm going to drop this link down in the description, so if you want to make reference. Now, we have two main ways of setting up our Expo app with expo-router. The easiest way to go about it is first of all to use the npx create expo app latest. This command basically creates a new expo app for you, and when you choose the default templates, it comes already pre-configured with the expo-router, so you don't need to do any manual configuration to set up expo-router. And that is what we did for this project. So for this project, or for this workspace or code base, we already have expo-router installed, so we wouldn't need to configure it manually. Okay, so that's for the setup for the automatic way. Now when it comes to the manual installation, this is for when we have an expo app that we haven't already configured expo-router. So at this point, you can go ahead and then set up expo-router from scratch. Okay, so it's very simple to do actually. Basically follow this command, copy this command here, npx expo install, which then installs these packages, which is first of all the expo-router, the React Native safe area context, React Native screens, and some other components, right? Or some other packages. You make sure you install them. Once they are installed, you make sure that in your package.json, you make sure that the main entry is the expo router entry, like this. So you can confirm this by checking your package.json file. So let's check over here, package.json, and then you can see over here in our main, we have the entry to be what? Expo router entry. So that is what is being used in this project. So if you don't have it there, you can go ahead and then enter the main and then make it expo router entry. Now, the next thing is to make sure that you modified your project scheme here. So our scheme can be found inside the app.json file over here. Just make sure that you've set the scheme. So for our project, this is the scheme. It automatically uses the name of our project to set the scheme for us. If you want to change it, you can go ahead and change it over here. And then the next thing here is to modify the Babel config.js file. Now, if you have the Babel config, you can go ahead and then modify it with those changes. Now, once you do that, you should now have the expo-router configured manually. But if you've already followed along with this course, you wouldn't need to go through this manual process. Expo-router has already been set up for you, so we wouldn't go through that process. All right. Now, when since the start of this series, we haven't really gone into the app folder. So in this lesson, we are going to be looking at some of the things over here. So first of all, we have the index.tsx file. That's what we've been using so far, right, in this course to render this component. So any lesson at all we do, we display it inside the index file. Now, why are we doing this? We're doing this because with this structure, the index file here becomes the entry point of, or let's say, the first screen for our app. So whenever you, inside the app folder, whenever you add an index file, this index file becomes the first screen that gets rendered on the React Native app. Okay, so that's how the structure is for the expo router configuration. Now, when it comes to the layout, you can think of the layout as like the global structure of your app, how you want to structure your app, and sort of like the main entry point of your app. Now, you can notice here that even in the index file, we have this global.css file. Now, we can still go ahead and then instead of importing it here, rather import it inside the the layout file, and it's going to mean that this file is going to be imported globally on our app because that is the root layout. This is actually the root layout of our whole application. All right, so in Expo, if you want to create a new page or a new screen or a new route, it's very simple. You basically create a new file inside the app folder like so. So let's say you want to create a new file called a new screen called details. So you basically create a file and then you add the extension. So this is going to be the details screen. Let's use our favorite snippet, RNFES, like so. Let's close this. So let's say details screen like this. So just like that, we've added a screen. Okay, we've added a screen to the page, which makes this part, this portion, a new screen, as you can see here. But how can we access it? Now, if you want to access it, we have this link components from expo-router that we can actually make use of. So let's come back here and then let's test this out. So let's comment out this lesson 7 and then let's have a text here like this, which we are basically going to import from React Native, and then we are going to say details screen like this. Okay, so instead of using text like this, now we have the detail screen here. Instead of using text, we are going to use the link component from expo router. Okay, we're going to use the link component from expo router, and this link component is expecting one parameter, one compulsory prop, which is the href. The href basically is the hyperreference or where we want to reference to. So you can see we are getting this TypeScript options here, and this details is what we created over here right now, which is the details screen. So you can go ahead and then add that as the route we want it to navigate to whenever we press the details screen over here like this. So let me reload the app once again. So as you can see now, when we press, as you can see, we're on the index page, the first page of the app. So when we press the detail screen, it's supposed to take us to the detail screen, as you can see here. So we press the back and then it brings us back. You press on it and then it takes us back. Okay, now you might want to add some, settings or modifications to how the navigation behaves, how the color of the title, or you want to even want to change the title, because on the home screen you might maybe want to change this to home instead of this index over here, because by default the title over here uses the name of the file. So you can see on this screen, since the name of the file here is index, that's what is being used as the title. And then on the details screen, since the name of the file is called details, that's what is being used here. Now, to modify the header options over here, you can basically come to the layout, which is the root layout in our case, and then modify the stack. So this stack is what is actually allowing us to see these screens and then navigate to them and then have this header here as well. So we will be using this stack to add some options. Okay, to be using it to add some options over here. So this is the stack, and then we are going to add the screens inside the stack. So the screen we are going to say stack dot screen over here like this. and then we add the name. Now the name is supposed to be the name of the file, okay, so that it makes reference to that file as the screen for this particular screen that we are adding, okay. So the first one I'm going to add is what? The index. So we're going to say index like this, and then we can have options like this, and then the option we can say title, and then we set the title to home. Now it comes with a lot of options that we can actually add, and the options over here are the same as what we use when we are using the normal React navigation in a normal React Native application. Now I'm going to drop a link to in the description for some of the videos that I have on React navigation with React Native and Expo. So that was the previous, when you have to create the stacks and order. I think you can go through that video and then see some of the options you can add in the stack. So those same options apply here, just that in this case the screens are not being imported over here, but then it's using the name of the file as reference to the screen. Okay. Okay, so that's it, the index. And as you can see here, since we changed the title, it has now changed from the index to what? The home that we've set here. Now let's do the same for the details. So the name here is going to be details. And then now when we move there, you can see that right now it is home. So let's change it to details like this, and it should change over here just like that. So you see how simple it actually is to navigate through screens. Okay, so in expo-router 2, we call something groups, right? Route groups, where we sort of like group the routes in a folder for, code readability, and then to sort of create a structure for our application. So I'm going to show you how to actually do that. So to create a route group, you simply create a new folder inside the app, and then with this group, we are going to call it home, okay? Because we want to create all the routes that are connected to the home inside this home folder. Okay, so here we've created a route group, and what we are going to do here is, first of all, move this index here into the home route, and then also the details here is also part of the home route, so I'm going to move it over there like so. Good. Now when you create a route group, you need to add a layout folder in it. Okay, you need to add a layout folder in it to set the structure for that particular route group. So I'm going to go ahead and then create a new file, and I'm going to call it underscore layout.tsx like this. And then let's use our favorite snippet, rnfes. And instead of having this layout, so I'm going to say home layouts like this. Okay. So once we do that, we are going to now set the stack. Have the stack over here like this. Make sure you're importing the stack from expo-router. And then we're going to say stack.screen, and then we set the name. So inside this folder, the home layouts here, we can see that the screens that we have is index and then details. So we can simply set the index here like this, and then over here we can also add some options, and then we say the title is going to be home. Okay, and then we add the next screen, which is what? Details like this, and then we change the heading, details like this. Now since we've created a new structure for this home with the index and then the details, when we come back here, we can go ahead and then make some changes here, and instead of having this index and details here, we can simply use the home group, because right now inside the app and then the root layout, the only routes that we are seeing here within this folder is the home, which is going to be the only stack that we have over here. So instead of having index here, we're going to have the home route over here, and then we can go ahead and then clear this one. So yeah, so we are going to have something like this for the root layout, and then when we come into the home layout, we now have the index and then the detail like so. Okay, so let's reload the app. Good. So now you notice something here, that we have two home headers here. Why is that? So let me sort of add a differentiator to the title here. So right now on this screen, this is the layout for the home group, right? So if I change the title here to, let's say, home main, like this, so that we know that that's the main home. So this is actually the main. This header that we are seeing here is coming from the root layout that we are seeing here. Okay, the root layout screen that we are seeing here. Now, because this root, we've added a stack over here, which is this route group. It is taking its header, and then also inside this group, since we have another layout, it's also adding its layout header. That's why we are seeing the two different headers over here. We are seeing the home header here, which is this one, and then the home main header, which is the one that we have over here. Now we can go ahead and then remove this header here by simply adding another option over here and say header shown, and then we set it to false. It's a boolean, so we set it to false so that it removes that one. Then when we come here, let's just keep this as home, like so. Yes, so that's what we have here. We have the home, and then we have the details screen. All right, now we can still go ahead and then create some more screens. So let's see how we can actually create bottom tabs with this structure. Okay, now you've seen how to create route groups. Now let's create a bottom tab. Now, creating a bottom tab is similar to creating a route group. So to create a bottom tab, simply create a new group inside the app folder. Let's create a folder, and then we are going to call it tabs. So to create a group, like I said earlier, you need to make sure that it's inside a bracket. Okay, so create a new route group called tabs, like this. And then inside tabs, we are going to move in the home tab, because the tab that we want to create, we want it to have the home tab. So we want to have the home, and then let's say settings and maybe profile. Okay, or let's say home, product, and then profile tabs over here, like so. So inside the tabs, right now we only have the home. Now let's create a new screen over here. Let's create a new screen by adding a new file. We're going to call it products.tsx, which is going to be a new screen. Let's add our favorite snippets. Let's call it products screen, like this. And then, so this is one screen. And then let's add another screen. Let's call it profile.tsx, like this. And then let's do this, and then say profile screen, like so. All right, so just like what we did for the home group, we need to add a layout to this group, and then we create a new file here, say underscore layout, like this .tsx. Let's use our snippet, and then this is going to be the tab group, like this. Okay, so instead of having this view here, we are now going to be using the tabs from expo-router, like so. So we are importing the tabs from expo-router, which means the next tags that you're about to add are basically tabs. Okay, so I'm going to say tab. To add a tab screen, you're going to say tabs.screen, similar to what we do for the normal stack screens. And then we add a name. So the name that we're going to add here is the names that we have inside the tabs folder. Okay, so we have the home, we have the products, and then we have the profile. So we simply do the same thing here. Come here, and then we're going to say home over here, and then let's add the remaining ones. We have products, and then let's add profile, like this. Okay, so that's the three main tabs that we are adding. So now once we've added the tabs here, you can now see that the structure has sort of changed inside our app folder. We now have a new folder inside the app, which is the tabs, and then we have the tabs and then the layout. Okay, which means we need to update our layout, our root layout. So inside our root layout, instead of having this home over here, we are going to rather use the tabs, like this, which is the one we just created over here. So as you can see here, we are seeing the tab over here, like this. Okay, now let's check what is going on over here. So here in the tabs, in the layout here, we can simply see over here that we add some options here, and then see we hide the header so that we don't see this thing over here. So we can simply say header shown should be false for this, so that we don't see that header. Let me reload this. Okay, so I had to restart the server for it to reflect. So if you are not seeing the changes that we've done, you can go ahead and then restart the application. You can do Control C, and then you do yarn start or npx expo start to restart the app, and then everything should work now. Okay, so let's make sure. So yeah, once you've done that, you should see this being displayed on your screen here. So you can see now that we have the home tab, we have the product tab, and then we have the profile tab as well. So basically, this is how easily we can add bottom tabs with expo-router. Now you can see that the name of the tab here is sort of using the same as the name that we've set here. Okay, and then the product is also using the same name, which is the name of the file, and then the profile too. I mean, you can also add some options here, and then see title is products with a capital P, and then do a similar thing over here, and then say title is profile, like this. And then over here, you can see that the title is home, like this. Now let's reload this to make sure that the changes are reflecting. Good. So as you can see, the changes has now been made. All right. Now you can apply some more changes to the stack here. Let's first of all go to the root layout. Okay, you can come over here at the root layout, and then we can add some inside the root layout. We can add some screen options, which is going to affect all other screens. Okay, it's going to affect all other screens that we move to. So right now you can see we have this default header for all the screens. You can basically add some styling to the header or some customization to the header to make it look like how you want to. So this still comes down to the options that we have in when it comes to Expo or React navigation. So I'm going to say screen options here, like this, and then we are going to set the header style, which is also another object, and we are going to change the background color to this hex color, like this. So let's reload to make sure that we are seeing. Okay, let's instead use this color. Yeah, let's use this color. Yeah, so yeah, good. So because we are hiding this header, we are not going to see it over here because this is not the header that is being shown. So let's actually go ahead and then place this on the layout of the home screen. So copy this, cut this rather, and then when we come to the home layout here, like this, where we have the stacks over here, we can now place that option, that screen options over here. Good. So as you can see, the color has been applied to the header here, and you can even change the color to whatever you want to use. Right now I've changed it to black. That's why it's been applied over here. So let me place it back to what we want it, which is this color here, and you can see it being applied. And you can also add some tint color, header tint color, which basically is the color of the back button and then the back title over here. So I mean, you can set it to red if you want to, any color at all that you'd want. So it sets the title, and then the title, and then the back button as well. So, I mean, you can change the color and then make it look and feel however you want to. So, yes, this is a basic and then a high level overview of React navigation, React Expo router, rather, my bad. So, this is a basic high level overview of expo router. In subsequent videos where we'll be creating the movie app or a project, we are going to see how we can actually make use and apply this basic concept and basic expo router concept to build an app, actually, which we are going to see how easy it is to actually make use of this expo router to add navigations to your application. Now, if this video has been very helpful, do want to leave a thumbs up and then share this video as well and hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Thank you so much for watching, and then catch you in the next video.